creativity for me is it's like a well. It's a well that you take out of, but it still needs to get filled. Right. So if you're just constantly depleting your well of creativity, and not filling it with whatever it is, filling it with rest, filling it with other creative endeavors or other people's art or whatever it is, then your well is really empty and you just have no juice to run off.
Nilidhani macho yangu yameona kila kitu. Oneni aibu, ulimwengu umejawa na kila kitu. Urembo mutoa wapi? Misidhani ni kwa wazazi. Urembo umetoka wapi? Misidhani ni duniani. Mlangoni nasikia sauti inaita. Una macho ni mrembo ni kupindukia, yeah. Mlangoni nasikia sauti inaita. Lakini angushe. Lakini angushe. Enda chini nimalize.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the 30% podcast, episode 145. My name is Sam Hare. I am joined by my co-host, Afam Efuna Onyebadi. Together we make the 30% pod boys. And of course, on here we talk about the music industry, the Kenyan music industry. We journal, just talk about what's going on, some opportunities, and the music and, all of that. I've been doing this for a while. We are both passionate about the Kenyan music industry, absolutely love it. That's why we started this thing and that's why we keep it going. And we hope that you learn, enjoy. Yes. Afam, what's up?
There was no passion. There is no aggression. Have you ever had that?
I have not. No.
Meme?
I'm like zero. I never get any references that you usually have. Loki, I think I need to be on the same interwebs that you need to be on. I never get your references.
Somebody out there does. I'm doing good. Just living life out here in Brooklyn. Apparently, I was gonna say apparently the weather is getting better, and I'm like, why is it apparent if I'm living here? Anyway, the weather is finally cooling down. It's been a journey. It has been a journey this summer. I cannot lie. This journey this
What's
summer
going on?
Has been one to forget. But anyway, speaking of hot and humid weather, Sam, I don't know, maybe do you want to say something?
Jeez. I mean, you don't have to put it like that. I am on, I don't know, it's not vacation really, but then I am back home. I am in the motherland, West Africa, Nigeria to be specific. And boy, is it hot and humid. It's the worst combination you could possibly have. No, cold and windy is the worst possible combination. Hot and humid is like a close second. So it's been really hot. But then Nigeria is pretty cool, man. I haven't been here for like 2 years. So, I mean, the place is pretty similar. But it's cool to be around family. Some good food, seeing a couple of people that I haven't seen in a while. And yeah, man, just seeing how I can get creative from this other side of the world and give myself a break from Nairobi for a while. But I'll be back. I will be back. Nigeria is cool. It's pretty cool.
Have you made some music already? Have you collaborated with Wizkid?
No, I've been here for like 3-4 days already. Wizkid already. I just touched down and straight to Wizkid's. No, Wizkid is. I think we have something scheduled next week. Makes sense.
Makes sense.
And then Davido close. I think might be also that same week. Then Burnout as well. So,
busy schedule. Sounds like you have a busy schedule, man. Make us proud out there.
I plan on it. But no, yeah. So it's just fair. I really haven't done much, man. I've been sleeping. I don't know. The I don't know what it is. Maybe I was very exhausted and I just didn't know. But then as I got here, I've just been really resting. But I'm back on my feet now. So that's super fire. Hoping to get myself back into some sort of creative groove.
Yeah.
But yeah. That's that. I got a question for you. I do have a question for you.
What's up?
When was the last time you experienced serious creative block? I'm not talking creative block as in you didn't know what to do with the kick and the snare and so you abandoned the record and started a new one. I mean, like you opened your laptop and you just felt like you did not want to be on Earth anymore because nothing was coming out of your brain and you shut it and went to watch a series.
Is that following up from you feeling tired and all that stuff?
I mean, not necessarily.
Anyway.
But yeah.
Okay. Yeah. No. I guess I would say right now I'm not in a super creative mode.
Yeah.
It's been a bit of a struggle to kind of work on music the past few weeks, I would say. Mostly because so to answer your question, I would say now. I think now is a time where it's been a bit of a challenge working on stuff and being creative and unlocking that side of myself. And yeah, man, it's difficult sometimes because I know I have an idea of what I would want to create, but it's just very difficult for me to sit down and actually execute it just because I don't feel like I have the inspiration to do so. And yeah, that's a challenging feeling to have to go through.
Yeah.
And have to try and overcome. How about yourself, man? When's the last time you felt unable to create, unable to tap into that, like, that side of yourself?
I mean,
that you usually do when you're making music.
I think I've been going through it a lot more recently. I don't know why it is. Like I'm needing more exciting, not exciting reasons, but more what do you call it? Like I'm more things that are more exciting in terms of creating, like musically. Like I'm needing to do different things, different genres more often than not, because back then I could sit down for like a month and just grind out hip hop beats or grind out in EDM. But now it's like the cycle of me switching up is a lot faster. I don't know why that is. I don't know whether that's a good thing or a bad thing. But I think it's helping me come up with like more different genres. But then, yeah, I would say recently, probably like the past couple of years, it's been like that. Of course, there's been situations where I've just been like, you know what, haven't created for like a week, and no one really talks about the guilt. No one talks about the guilt a creative feels when they are not in a creative mood and they're forced to do something else. But yeah, so
the guilt is usually horrible.
Yeah, so I mean, it's something that happens. I think it's something that happens to all creatives. I don't think there are creatives that do not go about it. I mean, do not experience it. Some, of course, are better at coping with creative block than others. So yeah, so I mean, we could just talk a little bit about creative block. Just give like a brief overview. I mean, as we talk about it, our individual experiences. Creative block. What is creative block? Afam, what am I saying? What would you say creative block is?
I mean, I guess I'll just describe it or define it as kind of what I said. I was going through when you asked me the question, because from my experience, it's just being unable to tap into your creativity, and in my case, it's music. So it's just it's just the feeling I get when I'm unable to create something that compels me.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I'm able to make music anytime. Like if you tell me to make a beat right now, I'll make a beat. But will I make a beat that I feel is moving me into, or like inspiring me, or kind of making me feel like, oh wow, I'm making some really compelling stuff right now, you know? That's the question, you know? So it's just that inability to make stuff that, for me anyway, that's what I would say. It's just
That resonates
that
with you.
inability, yeah, to make something that resonates.
Do you think if you're going through that period and you had creative block and you made something that, you know, was like you made a beat, but then it has absolutely no emotional connection in terms of like that resonating, like it doesn't resonate with you, would you still term that as creative block? Like does everything you create have to have, like what you explained, that sort of feeling attached to the final product? Or can you just create like I'm just churning things out? And
I can. No, I can definitely just churn things out. I've churned things out. I've had to churn things out before.
Yeah.
But for me, creative block is about me creating the things that I want to create.
Yeah.
Because I can make like I said, if you tell me make a trap beat right now, I will make you a trap beat. If you tell me to make 3 trap beats, I will make 3 trap beats. But will I like them? That's the question. You know what I mean? And I think that that goalpost really moves the longer you are in the industry, because I can make a beat that 5 years ago, right, I would be like, wow, yo man, that shit's crazy. Wow, you just made that like in 20 minutes. Wow, that's crazy. But then right now I'm just like, nah, you know, it's not anything that I think is necessarily compelling. And so for me, I think the creative block feeling comes when you make something and you just feel like it's fallen short of like your expectations, or what would make you feel like you're pushing the envelope. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that feeling is usually just it's just very, very frustrating.
It is. I mean, that definition is definitely what it is. I guess if I'm putting in words, it's just the inability to like create new ideas, whatever it is, right? And creative block happens in different creative spheres. It's not just music. It's art. It's film. It's where your brain is just. It just feels like you're unable to either to generate new ideas. You're unable to tap into whatever source you've been tapping into when creating, and it could just come at any moment, honestly. But then there are definite causes for that, and we'll just talk about some of them. The first cause I would say is perfectionism, where I think and this is one I think I struggle with a lot, where it's a two-part for me. It's perfectionism and not finishing projects, where when you have a project and you're working on it and you don't get to the end of it, for whatever reason, it could be that you're doing too much, and so you're not really focused on an end goal in terms of whatever it is, or you have a very perfect picture of what your art is supposed to look like, and as you're going about it, you're not necessarily reaching that, and so you kind of get tired, burnt out, frustrated with it, and then your brain decides to, you know what, I'm not doing it anymore. I'm just not going to create. So that's one of them. Another one, like I said, again, would be burnout. Burnout, just doing a lot of creating and not giving your time. So creativity for me is it's like a well. It's a well that you take out of, but it still needs to get filled. Right. So if you're just constantly depleting your well of creativity, and not filling it with whatever it is, filling it with rest, filling it with other creative endeavors or other people's art or whatever it is, then your well is really empty and you just have no juice to run off. And if you're not inspired, because inspiration is one of the big things in the creative world as musicians, like both of us are producers, artists, but even just other mediums in terms of dance, visual arts, film, all of that, right? if you're not able to constantly create, constantly generate new ideas, that becomes difficult.
Yeah, I mean, and I would say like a second reason would be, and I think I mentioned it before, is the expectation.
Yeah.
When you've been making, and most of my examples are going to be music related because that's what I do most of the time. Although I did go through this period or this creative block stuff when I used to draw way back in the day. But yeah, I think the expectations part is a huge one. Because when you've been doing it for a while, you know what you can create. You know, you've had moments where you've made music that's moved you, that's made you feel like you're breaking boundaries and stuff like that. And so you chase that feeling. Right, and I'm sure you've done this yourself, where you chase the feeling of creating something that just makes you feel like you are just doing something crazy. And the problem with that expectation is it's very hard to get to those levels all the time. You know, some days you're going to make beats that are just good. And that's all they are. You know what I mean? You're not always going to make the beat that you're like, wow, I'm going to shop this around with all the artists and like, I'm going to do this and that. That's not going to happen all the time. And I think when you have that expectation, it really, really eats at you, because it's like, damn, like, why? And I guess that kind of is linked to perfectionism in some regard.
Yeah.
Because like, damn, why can't I make this amazing thing that made me feel like this one time when I made an amazing beat, and it was just wow, you know what I mean? So yeah, I think expectations is a big one, and I think it's something that all artists need to, and it's so easy to say, it's so easy to just say on a podcast, but it's one of those things that you need to really try and remove from the equation when you're creating stuff. Like I think you need to go at creating art without expectations of anything. Now, is that realistic? Most times, not really, but you do have to try.
You do. Along with that, I guess, is another reason, which is kind of similar to that, is that just the fear of failing at creating. I think that's something a lot of artists go through in whatever level it is. It could be as big as the fear of failing in terms of like your entire career, or as big as like, as Afam has been talking about, not being able to create exactly what you want to create, or create it in the way that you think it should appear. That perfectionism that comes with creativity. So that's a big thing. Along with that, I think another reason would be sometimes, of course, sometimes our mental health, especially as creatives, speaking within the creative world, is not. We could be going through a whole bunch of things, right? A lot. We could be going through a lot, and that definitely plays on it. If your mental, our mind is where the creativity happens, and if that environment is sick, whatever levels of sickness it is, it could be like really small to like a major thing that requires like professional help. But whenever that environment is not primed for creativity, then creative block happens. And it's important. This one is kind of weird, because there's some artists who really power through creativity, through mental health issues, and end up creating. I don't know how they get that done, but then it's doable. But for a lot of people, it's really difficult to create when, let's say like you've gone through like loss in your life, or you're going through a really dark period where you can't, your mind is split, sort of. And so that's not a really fruitful environment for creativity. And so that would be another reason that you could experience creative block. Another one is you could possibly be overwhelmed. Sometimes as an artist, we throw on too many projects, which we might be able to do, but then you quickly find that once you get through all, if you're trying to divide yourself and do a lot of things at the same time, you're definitely going to get tired. The brain gets tired like the body gets tired. and it will be unable to move like the body does sometimes. And so that could definitely be another reason. Is there any other reason? Or
So, I do agree with being overwhelmed. I think all of these reasons are very interconnected, especially like being overwhelmed and then, drawing that to mental health. I think one big reason that also ties all these things is financial stability. I don't know if you've thought about this, but being financially unstable is one of the biggest reasons people experience burnout, because obviously you find yourself kind of needing to do other things, and then your art kind of falls into the back burner. It's not really like the focus of what you're doing anymore, and you kind of allot less time to doing the art and stuff like that. And those feelings usually sometimes it leads to you feeling stressed, it leads to you feeling anxious, and then that leads into your mental health. And yeah, man, that's one of the biggest things I feel like
definitely
really limits people from like tapping into like their full creative
definitely and
potential,
as especially with new artists, because as a new artist you're not, I'm speaking about musicians now, as a new artist you're not necessarily earning as much from your music, with the whole streaming era and the peanuts that we are receiving from all around. You probably need to double up on your income to fund your art and keep pushing that, right? And sometimes the things you're doing to double up just drains the life out of you in a way that you're not able to get back and actually sit down in a studio and create. Or it will take a lot of energy to do that, and sometimes you don't have that energy because you've just been working all day, just absolutely slaving all day to get a little bit of money just to fund your art. So it can be really difficult, and
which is why I like whenever I see some of these artists who come from really poor backgrounds, or like those artists who come from like the gang neighborhoods, and they make it out the hood, like for real. Everyone claims to make it out the hood, but like there's actually very few people who make it out the mud.
Yeah,
there's very few people who actually make it out the mud. A lot of people are still in the mud.
Yeah.
But when you see but I'm saying like some people like to pose as though they've made it out the mud, but really, Clarence, you had a really nice life. Clarence is just like a
Clarence lived in a upper middle class. Went to a really good school.
Clarence always lives in an upper middle class. Like
Clarence goes to Java every morning to get coffee. Yeah.
But yeah, like usually whenever you see those people, I'm genuinely always really, really impressed, because I'm just like, wow, like there's just so many things going on. There's lack of resources in terms of even recording equipment and stuff like that, and people still are able to make something out of that, and that's really, really commendable. Because you can just imagine like where somebody's mental is when they're thinking about all these things. There's one more that I wanted to talk about before maybe we move on to I think also external validation is a huge one. That's a huge one for burnout, especially in this era where we are exposed to so much art, and then people are posting everything on social media. You already feel like you're in competition. Even if you're not like one of those competitive people, you already see all these people doing all these amazing things on social media, and it's like, damn, like I can't put whatever I'm working on out because
it doesn't match up.
It pales in comparison and stuff like that. Just always being in the hunt for that external validation, trying to be part of this attention economy that we are existing in. That stuff is really, really challenging, man. And it's something that's so hard to navigate. Let me ask you a question. So how do you usually deal with with just the self-comparison aspect of things when it comes to making your music, trying not to get lost in what all other producers are doing and who all these other producers are working with and who's the hot producer right now, and just trying to figure out how you compare with them.
Yeah. I mean, if I'm just being transparent and honest, it's I think it's really difficult because as a creative, one of the ways I gauge my progress, one of the ways I grade myself is looking at myself in comparison to the people who, create like me, the people who create around me, the type of producers that I am around and stuff. And so if I see them moving forward or getting specific placements or projects or whatever it is, and I'm not doing as much to get that, then I start feeling like I'm lagging behind. And so comparison tends to, what did they say? Comparison is a thief of what is it?
Joy.
It's still something. Thief of joy. Comparison is a thief of joy. And so when I have, this is something that I'm learning, like actively learning to, like as a creative, my journey is my journey. And so I know that if I sit down and look at what other people are doing locally and internationally, just as long as you're creating what I would want to be creating and I am not creating that at that level or at that rate, as long as I sit down and do that, I know that the end goal of that is never positive. Like when you sit down and compare yourself, me personally, because I tend not to be a very competitive guy. I know for competitive people, when they sit down and they look at, oh, this guy is doing this and he just got a placement, they kick into gear. I tend to just sit back and be like, oh, snap. Okay, let me, So I know that that's a area in my life I should avoid. And so now it's more like celebrate the people and then look for how to research, look at the strategies they did, how they went about creating or getting where they got to that you would want to get to. And just try and emulate that, and then innovate it in your own way so that it's a you thing. But yeah, I'm not even going to lie. That's something that I struggle with.
Yeah, because for me, I think I'm very competitive, so I'm always trying to like create things that fit into the global narrative.
Yeah,
like, and I don't think that's a good thing. Because I think the things that really move the needle and the things that really become compelling or stand out in the conversation are things that kind of break the mold.
Yeah.
I'm never always like, I don't want to put something out that's just not
exciting,
that doesn't compete with what people want to listen to, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's one of the things where you all have these thoughts and then you psych yourself out from working on something, because it's like, I don't want to just release this stuff that I just feel like won't, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So, yeah. Because when you release that, then you're not even as attached to it emotionally. And it's just another piece of art that you created that needed to go out. But we could quickly just run through a couple of ideas. If you're an artist, you know what creative block is. So we could just run through a couple of ideas of sort of just how to get around it, how to get through it, or how to avoid it. And just knowing where it comes from. I guess knowing where it comes from would be an important step here, is where you have to really sit down and think, okay, why I was creating, what happened that kind of stopped that flow of creativity. And then once you know that, now you can probably apply one of the different things that you could do. Number one would be change your process, right? Change your process, do something different. Create, right? But create in a different way, right? So if you're an artist, if you're a producer and you've been grinding on Bitwig Studio and you're just grinding and you're seeing absolutely nothing coming out anymore, switch up. Maybe challenge yourself to, rather than create in your DAW, challenge yourself to record everything. Go get some drums, live guitars, like essentially just go country, right? Create and see how you can work on that, and then give yourself room to be excited by the process of creativity. And then you can go back once you're creative enough again, or you're feeling like you're excited enough about something, you can now incorporate that into your old method or completely get rid of the old method and use a new one. Again, along with that, like break your routine. Again, as a producer, sometimes you could just get stuck in wake up, I need to make this specific number of beats. I'm creating for someone's album, so I'm just going to do this, and you just get tired and bored of that. So break your routine. If you're used to creating in the studio, carry your laptop, go to a coffee shop, sit there, your headphones on. Just go do something different. Create in a different environment. And maybe see how that environment can influence your creative process. I don't know if that makes sense. But yeah, I don't know if I guess from your personal experience, what have you found to work when you have a block?
So I think realistically, what I've gone through is you kind of just have to make stuff even if you don't like it.
Yeah.
So you kind of have to just push through the bad.
Yeah.
I just usually have this saying, you have to make a bunch of bad beats before you make the good ones. The way I am as a producer is I'm more of a volume producer than I am a surgical producer. What I mean by that is I produce a lot of things before I make really good things. There's some people out there who they just make
the one beat a month and they get it placed.
But yeah, and it's really good. You know what I mean? I need to kind of gain momentum. Yeah. So say I want to make like R&B, I'm gonna have to spend like 2 weeks just making R&B beats. And usually now from there, and really consistently, and then from there is when I'll start like making some really good
lock
stuff.
in, and then you get in your groove.
Yeah, but like 85% of those beats will just be horrible. But you see, that's the thing that you kind of have to desensitize yourself from a little bit, is because as an artist you get very attached even to the process, and sometimes you don't want to like feel like these beats are bad, and you don't want to like spend time making bad beats. But sometimes, well, for me and my creative process, that's just the way it is. I have to make the bad beats to make the good ones.
Yeah.
But sometimes I have my creative blocks because I don't want to go through the emotional turmoil of making those bad beats in the first place. So I just don't make beats at all. You get what I mean? So it's like I'm avoiding that already. But I know this just from experience, that I need to make the bad beats to make the good ones, because that's just how it's always been for me. And I think rationalizing it that way, it's really helpful, because you also just have to understand how you are as a creative and what things you need to do to kind of like get the job done. I would say one other thing to do is also just to like stop the self-comparisons, and I think we kind of touched on that in the previous like examples, but like just don't get too lost in the rat race of trying to be the best. I think that's one thing I struggle with as well, because I've always been very competitive, and I've always wanted to be the best. I always wanted to be like you see those, these are the top 10 producers in the country, and I'm not on
and
there.
Your name is not there.
Yeah, that pisses me off, man. That pisses me off, because it's just like I want to be one of the best. But I think that's something that I personally need to like stop doing to myself a little bit, because it's just like, it's not good. It's not healthy. And those things bleed into your mental health and all that stuff. So you just need to stop all that and try and run your own race, and and yeah, you won't get those feelings of burnout as much, I think.
Yeah, true. I'll just mention two, and then I guess we could wrap this up. Number one would be if you're used to creating alone, like, it'll be very useful to create with people. Just have like work with other people as a producer. Send your stuff to someone else. Just like where you're stuck, bounce it, send it to someone else. Like, yo, this is where I am. What do you think? What do you think we can add? Send it to like another producer. Tell him, do whatever you want. Destroy it and build it back up again. Add stuff, whatever it is. Because from there you can like really spark ideas in terms of just creating. And then the third one the second one would be. Second and the last one I would mention is to create constraints for yourself. Create simpler environments where it's the, how do I put this? What you need to achieve is a lot easier. Like, for example, if you're used to making a beat in 5 hours, tell yourself, listen, I'm going to do everything I can to finish this beat in 30 minutes, or I'm going to challenge myself to write a song in 10 minutes, or I'm going to use 5-6 different tools to achieve 6 different sounds to make a beat, rather than doing 1,000,001 things and putting a high pass on a low pass and all of that business. Like, just create a constraint, reduce the parameters that you would usually have for yourself, and see how much you can create in that. And then once you get used to that, you can now start adding things back in. And I think it just helps. There's a whole lot more. If this is something that I guess as a creative you struggle with, there's a whole lot more.
No, before you wrap it up, I was just gonna say my last one would be, and I think also try and draw inspiration from different sources. Yeah. Because, and I know you kind of mentioned like, oh yeah, if you make music primarily alone, try and make it with people, etc, etc. But try and sometimes when I'm looking for inspiration, I'll try and listen to as many different genres that I think can inspire me. But sometimes you could also get inspiration from even different mediums of media. Like, you could watch a movie that inspires you. You could read a book that inspires you. You could go watch a play that inspires you to make like a specific genre of music. So sometimes maybe also just try and open your mind to different ways of getting inspired or getting inspiration.
True.
And I think that could help.
Yeah. That's definitely a good point. And just go and source that creativity rather than it comes from inside. Go source it from other places. That's what creatives do all the time. So yeah, if you just go online, or talk to other creatives as well, if you do struggle with a creative block, on how they get over it, and then you'll be able to try and implement some of those things, and I think you'll be good for it.
And this the advice I'm about to give you is this is edgy. But let me tell you something. Great artists, good artists copy, great artists steal. Do with that what you want.
Out and steal something.
But for real though. And I know that sounds like such bad advice, but it's actually, whoever said that is so poignant. One, there's nothing new on the face of the planet. Everything has been done.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So let me tell you, go figure out like what creatives were doing in the 1970s, like what art styles they were doing for their artwork, or what sounds they were using for their records, and just copy, like just literally just copy what they did, and then try and try and just put that into the music that you're doing today
in your own words.
Some way, integrate
really.
it. Yeah, exactly, and then come out with something. And bro, it's going to work. So this is my final say. Like, sometimes also like doing what other people have already done and then just adding to it. That also brings you out of a creative rut, for sure. But hey,
for sure.
Do you want to hear about somebody who has no lack of creativity? It seems like they're just creative all year round, and their creativity is just, it's off the charts. Xenia Manasseh, Sam. Bro, I feel like she's so productive, man. Like during a calendar year, there's so much that she does. And the first thing that popped up to me, and I wanted to talk about is, bro, she has a placement on Teyana Taylors' album Escape Room, and she wrote and has backing vocals on the song In Your Head. And I think it's one of those situations, me and Sam were talking about it before the podcast, where I think she probably recorded the entirety of the song.
Yeah.
And then they just kind of like replaced the top
lead,
vocal.
yeah, the top vocals. And everything. Yeah,
they replaced the lead vocal with Teyana's because the backing vocals are heavily Xenia.
Yeah.
So that's huge, man. Xenia is genuinely out here writing for...
Didn't she have one on Teyana's previous album?
Yep.
So that's a...
Yep. Yeah, she's had one on Teyana's previous album. She's had one on Brandy's...
Yeah. I remember that.
Was it like a Christmas... It was a Christmas project or something similar. Something like that.
Yes, something like that.
Yeah, bro. So she's out here like legitimately writing for people. So just wanted to give her flowers, man. Always.
That's cool. I mean, hope to see more artists do that. Obviously, link with artists outside of the country and create. Of course, that takes a lot of engineering. It takes a lot from your team. It takes a lot from the connections. It's all about connections, that game. And so it's a lot of work. But then I think it's a really fruitful way because being paid from like writing credits and all of that is also a pretty decent way to quietly cause some trouble in the industry in the sense of just be present and do a lot. So shout out to her. Shout out to everyone else who is silently doing that. Of course, we know about the big ones and the show names, but then there's a whole bunch of artists and Kenyan artists. Like occasionally I just discover like Kenyans placed in different parts of the world, just creating and being involved in some really good projects. So it's very good to see. It's very good to see. Shout out to her and her team for consistently locking that up.
Do you think Xenia likes her drinks shaken or stirred?
It depends on what drink. If it's tea, definitely shaken. Water, stirred.
Why would you have water stirred?
You wouldn't see. What? You're not tapped in. You wouldn't understand. You're not tapped in, bro.
Oh, tapped in.
Yeah.
Tapped in because of water. Oh my God, Sam.
See,
please rein yourself in. No, the reason I ask is because I think Xenia likes her drinks triple distilled.
Oh. Well, that's okay.
So I'm going to move to a podcast where my jokes are appreciated. Anyway,
if you make jokes that deserve appreciation, then you would already be in one. But okay.
That was so good. The reason I'm making this joke is because in more Xenia related news, she's part of the Jameson Distilled Sounds cohort. I think there's gonna be 12 artists. One of which is also Kethan. So really big to see two entire Kenyans. Well, two Kenyans being part of the roster.
Yeah.
I think this is the second year in which Jameson is doing this project. Essentially looks like it's just an idea to kind of get, artists in the global stage creating music under the mentorship of Mr. Anderson .Paak, which is huge. I just woke up one day and I was busy just seeing Kethan with Anderson on my timeline, and I was like, okay. Wait, I just called Anderson .Paak Anderson.
Yeah, like he's your boy.
There's certain people who never get referred to by their first name. They're always referred to by both names. And why is that?
I don't know. Well, just calling him Paak. That's just,
nobody calls him Paak.
Yeah,
you can't
Paak
just call him Paak because there's two Paak. But nobody just calls him Anderson. Everyone calls him Anderson .Paak.
Yeah. It's a
so
brand.
weird.
It's
There's
the brand. It's social engineering. I think it's done on purpose actually. Or sometimes maybe he might have wanted to just be called Park, but then sometimes the fans just pick what they like and they run with it. So
Interesting. Anyway, the other artists involved would be Euclides from Portugal, Loiso from South Africa, Mary Ann
I like
Alexander from India.
Yeah.
Xenia Manasseh, who we already shouted out, from Kenya, Monica Karina from Indonesia, St. Kylo from Malaysia, Moldanazar from Kazakhstan, Skinner from Ireland, KP Illest from Namibia, and Manny Wells from Nigeria. So it looks like a really strong cohort, a lot of diverse voices. Hey, bro, shout out to Xenia and Kethan for securing this opportunity. Can't wait to see the music that they come up with. And if this leads to more international collaborations,
Yeah. I'm here for
down.
it. Definitely here for it. Yeah, I mean, we could in sort of again in line with that, Faye, in line.
The 30% podcast where we talk about BN and Xenia and then
just the whole time,
also
right?
the music industry.
And also, yeah, in line with that, someone who's been really instrumental in just the things that Big Z has been doing, just the collaborations, a really cool, brilliant mind. Faye has recently been planning and putting together a masterclass. I've wanted to talk about this for a couple of weeks. She's what is she not? Right? She does a lot of things within the industry, and I think she has a lot of good knowledge. So she's organized a masterclass that she's been, pushing to a couple of people. Pushing out and just trying to impart the knowledge that she has. So it's an ongoing thing. I think I don't know whether as of right now whether the intake is done. But then if you're looking for more information, definitely you'll be able to find that if you mosey down to her page, her line. But then it's a masterclass. It's for like one-on-one hands-on programs designed for artists, producers, managers, A&Rs, PR, booking agents, distributors, indie label teams who are trying to build strategic music careers. I think it's really brilliant. She offers consultations, masterclasses, 12 masterclasses, weekly one-on-one sessions to apply your lessons directly, a couple of resources, a workbook, insights, branding insights, contracts, touring, digital growth, and industry access, and then mentorship from her. I think it's something that if you're interested in the music industry, interested in the music business, you can sign up for. It's paid, so if you reach out and find out the information, you'll be able to get those prices there. But I think for the price that it is, the total amount, which will be 18K, that might seem like a lot, but then for the knowledge that you possibly would be getting, I think that's very useful. And I think Faye is someone you could possibly trust with that. She would be definitely a good resource to learn all of that stuff. She's had experience. She's had success with some artists. I think currently she's also managing Alter Said, and he's incredible as well. Just really looking forward to seeing what they cook up with him. Hopefully he's able to get on the levels of like what Xenia is doing and even more, because he's very brilliant. And all the other people that she's kind of has her hand in their careers. Shout out to her for putting this together. And again, if you're really interested, I think you check that out. It's a good opportunity, I think. So go check that out.
Yes, sir, man. New music. Do you want to talk about new music that came out this week?
Let's do it. I will be honest with you. With the whole flying around, I haven't really sat down to listen to new music, and they still don't have Wi-Fi in the planes yet. So still trying to figure that out. But I did go to a couple of things.
Okay.
So I'll just mention those. The first thing I think I went to, I was really excited about, is Mbak Dalo by Costa Ojwang, which is a 5-song project. Of course, I just genuinely really love what Costa Ojwang is doing. I would say the project really matches the album art in terms of, it's very African, very just folky, and it just feels like that album art. It's really brilliant. I enjoyed, I don't know how to pronounce it, but the 4th song on the project, Osiepe. I mean, I enjoyed most of it, not most of it. I enjoyed all of it, but then the 4th song I think really I enjoyed the most. So shout out to him, man. He's great. I also listened to Mangware by Matata and Watenda Willie. I went to that. That was cool. And then Vijana Amawaze by Saru and Furthermore. Interesting collaboration again by the both of them. So that was fun as well. And then I did listen to Run Too Far by New Funk. That might have been it, I think, that I went to.
Okay.
But yeah,
Okay.
I'm definitely going to sit down and go back to some more of the releases during that week.
So I also listened to, Sarah released a lot of music this week. So she released a song with Mandy called Zetu Zetu. They also released a video. It was just them recording the song in the studio. Well, it looked like a house. I think there was also, I'm pretty sure there was also a song, a video for Mangware, which I also watched. They're trying to do like a new dance thing. There's always a new dance that everyone is trying to roll out. Anyway, I also watched that. Then Iken and Mali finally collaborated on the song Brown Skin Girl. So shout out to them. It's a good collaboration right there. Tesla, Unspoken Salatone, Mordecai Dex released the song Step on it. Shout out to Tesla, I'm a huge fan. DTX and Lafrique released the song Joe. I thought that was a good listen. I also want to shout, there was a lot that came out. Finally, Juanita released the song Domesticated. I believe they released it by mistake and took it down a few weeks ago, but it's finally up. So yeah. Blocker Beats, Beatty, Tugi, and Stars in the Zoo released the song Fly. There was also Mr. Lou Corito, Tayo, Mao from Nowhere, and Frisia Flow. They released the song Rumba Imechacha.
Always here for new Mr. Lou.
Yeah, shout out to Mr. Lou. Angry Panda Clan dropped the song Kawom. Kawom, there's so many different songs there's songs by different people called Kawom. And that's like the slogan for Shy Boy. Ghetto Tycoon. Shout out to him. Brooklyn Boys released the video and the song for Rich or Broke. It's now, they're hopping on the jerk sound. So yeah, they might be one of the first people I've seen hop on that sound. So shout out to them for always being pioneers. Freaky by Mr. T and Grenade. Shout out to them as well. Yes, so much so this is a lot of music. And then huge shout out to Petrooz, Ochiko, and Bakari for the song Sauti Inaita. I thought that was really, really good. It's kind of why we used it in the intro to this podcast, because what a song. So shout out to them. The song I would like to highlight for the end of the podcast though is something that just kind of took me back to just back in the day, back in the, the late 90s, the early 2000s. Nigga SHAWN released a song called Hard Knock, and it's on one of those old school beats, those uko flani beats.
Yeah.
I felt like I was listening to Wenyeji or something. But I was just like, I like this wave of people kind of harkening back. I mean, you see it everywhere. I mean, even with Costa Ojwang's new project, which I haven't listened to in its entirety, but like he's making music that harkens back to music from back in the day. And there's a lot of that going on. So I'm a huge fan. I like it. So shout out to nigga SHAWN, the Goatee, P Mawada, and Capp CC for the song Hard Knock. I think it's tough. They also released a video, so y'all go watch that. And that's the song that y'all are about to listen to for the end of the podcast.
Top Beats Music.
Yo. Ay. Tumebonda za ki-hardcore. Tumebonda za ki. Cheki, yo. Tumebonda za ki-hardknock, za ki-hardcore. Hard buzz punchlines kwenye mic yo. Dula safi nimezikop kwa Nike shop. Na kaningoi music waiki ya mic. Tumebonda za ki-hardknock, za ki-hardcore. Hard buzz punchlines kwenye mic yo. Dula safi nimezikop kwa Nike shop. Na kaningoi music waiki ya mic.
Nimeharibika, sidhani wenki chwa kibof sindo. Wale maniga, uchwanga kina SHAWN. Tuna das kwezi giza tuonekata fika don. Ngoja, sani kiraista wako kwake kibon kichwa kibof na yobosi Kaliban. Kilemba juu Jumaa yoboy ni mtaliban. Kai jazizo maganji unaza kamna money bag. Woko stack kwezo bet kwani uskizizo mabads. Leo nipige class alafu kesho ndunge logs. Beat iko top kaperusi soni vast. Tunazoza kibad guys na sin maboy wa knocks here 10/10 poria kwangu iko na
bonda
dust.
za ki-hardknock, za ki-hardcore. Hard buzz punchlines kwenye mic yo. Dula safi nimezikop kwa Nike shop. Na kaningoi music waiki ya mic. Tumebonda za ki-hardknock, za ki-hardcore. Hard buzz punchlines kwenye mic yo. Dula safi nimezikop kwa Nike shop. Na kaningoi music waiki ya mic.
Tukidrop kila tena kwaga problem. Tuko on, tuko stone na mamandem. Tunaleta shida wajiadhari. Tumekam kuharibu market. Woy, murder case, another casket. Brand new bitch, chana na yo ratchet. Headshot, nepiga vi heartless. Ini classic, ini timeless. Mini die hard, kwa yo death dress. Behind bars, mepigwa kisentes. Head bad, kwa yo rende. Wanabuya, lazima waseme. Wachukue B, anytime waneza genya. Wana base, aturudi tena. Sitokia form kaka unadema. Ripe ya umaji.
Tumebonda za ki-hardknock, za ki-hardcore. Hard buzz punchlines kwenye mic yo. Dula safi nimezikop kwa Nike shop. Na kaningoi music waiki ya mic. Tumebonda za ki-hardknock, za ki-hardcore. Hard buzz punchlines kwenye mic yo. Dula safi nimezikop kwa Nike shop. Na kaningoi music waiki ya mic.
Nikiguza hivi napata goosebumps nipeleke speedy. Kuna 2 bumps na kuwaga cheesy neza ugusa. Tuko stutu na cooks unanusa. Any freestyle back to life ka Easter. Pesi ya mzebeko tuna move ka cheetah. Tuna shine kama goro tuna glitter. Zao ziko chini zo tupa kwa lita. Mini pimps wanacheza ka guitar. Vitu hardcore kwa mic tadhani vita. Flow ni sick flow leo kama river. Na hadisi ya magia na sichezi ya reverse. Mini pimps wanacheza ka guitar. Vitu hardcore kwa mic tadhani vita. Azinangarika niko na kama
tumebonda za ki-hardknock, za ki-hardcore. Hard buzz punchlines kwenye mic yo. Dula safi nimezikop kwa Nike shop. Na kaningoi music waiki ya mic. Tumebonda za ki-hardknock, za ki-hardcore. Hard buzz punchlines kwenye mic yo. Dula safi nimezikop kwa Nike shop. Na kaningoi music waiki ya mic.
That was Hard Knock by nigga SHAWN, the Goatee, P Mawada, Capp CC. Shout out to them. Shout out to the Bud guys for releasing music. Yo, listen. As always, thank you guys so much for listening to this podcast. We really, really appreciate you. We created this podcast to uplift Kenyan music, uplift Kenyan artists' voices. Like I always try to say, Kenyan artists deserve to be paid more and played more. And if you're new here, I usually like to end the podcast with the 3 C's, which is just kind of like a mantra that I devised for myself. to kind of get myself, actually it's in line with like creative blocks and everything. It's part of this 3Cs is part of that. And number one is confidence. Always be confident in your art, no matter what. That's what is going to convince people to want to listen to you. Number two, consistency. If you're always consistent, both in the creation of your music and the way you release your music or your art, like you'll never go through long periods of creative block. So yeah, and then craft. Always work on your craft. And yeah, this is actually so on theme, because if you're always working on your craft every day, 5-10 minutes, trying to like improve on it, learning something new, devising new ways to tackle problems, you'll never really get stuck.
True.
And yeah, man, those are the 3Cs. I hope they help.
I hope they do. They definitely help me sometimes. I do not have anything insightful, unfortunately, as like Afam usually does at the end of the podcast. So I will just say goodbye. We'll catch you guys in episode 146.
All right, man. We'll see you guys on 146.